Hi everybody, Angel Arts here, and welcome back to session number 8 of our main squad session for Mass Effect Collision. I am here. Last session was quite a doozy.
Ow!
Yeah,
In the fields.
Yeah,
very much
punch in the
so.
feels.
Right, yeah, very much in the feels.
Before we started recording, we were talking about somebody asked if anyone said anything to anybody else about session 7, and everybody's been pretty tight-lipped. So more power to you guys for being able to do that. Session 7 is probably going to be one of the more, for me personally, going to be one of the more memorable sessions in
Oh, yeah.
many ways than
Yeah.
one.
That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun doing that whole
Yeah,
suspense.
So, in order for us to kind of get into the mood and trying to get ourselves back into what's the events that's happening, and also as a way for us to help ourselves as we're moving forward, at least for the beginning of the session, I want you guys to take some time to think about what does your character personally believes happens after death. I want you to dive into what your character believes spiritually. I'm not saying religiously. I'm not saying that your character is religious. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. If you want to get into that, you can. But what do you think like they believe happens after death, if anything happens after death?
Absolutely nothing. That's it. You're gone. Kaput. It's very much in line with the Quarry mentality of you have one life, live it, which is why one of the things that Quarians do, I think, in the lore is that they sometimes construct VI personalities of loved ones and ancestors. Um, which, yes, he is actually doing for Drimmy, so.
And according to you, these VIs entities are socially acceptable, I guess, around the Quarians.
They're
Do they?
socially acceptable, but they're representations only. And one issue that some Quarians have is that they start treating them almost as people. I suppose it's a grieving thing, whereas it's really not. They're not. It's a sort of like a VI memorial, if you will. That's what it's intended to be.
If Elias, here's a question for you. If Elias was dealing with a friend who loses someone to death, would Elias's handling of that situation with his friend be different with another Quarian versus, say, a human? And why and how, if it were different, if we're any different?
Um, Elias hasn't actually come up against that situation yet,
Okay.
so I guess we're going to find out.
Okay, fair enough. Something to think about. All right, who would like to go next?
she's much like Elias in that nothing else happens after you die. When you die, you're dead. You're just gone. There's the Krogan thing about leaving their ancestors in the hollows just to display them there, but she just thinks that there's nothing to it. It's just bones. It's just more to inspire the living than anything to do with the dead.
Actually, this question's a little more complicated for Anar because he's actually not 100% sure what happens beyond death. Primarily because of everything that he's gone through, his teachings before he left home, everything he's learned from Earth culture that he's been paying attention to, and then everything that's been happening to him lately. Basically, he's got multiple conflicting things that is all spiraling around death, and he's just wondering what happens at the end. But he's trying really hard to purify his soul as much as possible, so that way he won't, at least when he goes, he'll at least go happy, knowing that he made the best difference he could. So whether or not you go to a purgatory, a heavenly place, or like a nine hells sort of scenario, he at least wants to know that when he leaves the universe, he wants to leave it with the best impact that he as a Hanar can do. Because He feels that because he thinks beyond what a normal Hanar would think, that it's his responsibility to leave a better imprint of what their race could be, as opposed to what everybody sees them to be.
Out of character, Jeff, are you familiar with the Enkindler religion?
That the Hanars practice.
Correct.
Social political dialect is highly juxtaposed by them, and that the Enkindlers will raise them beyond, that they're more of a heavenly host than anything, even though that's not what they were. I'm only mostly thing. I just haven't found anything concrete, unfortunately. Not to mention, Anar doesn't fully. He was brought up to believe in the Enkindlers, but he's more agnostic about it, or else
Fair
he'd be
enough.
following more of their social doctrines.
Question: Does Anar believe in the old Hanar gods? Because we saw a bit of that with Thane. Kalahira, Oceans and Afterlife
Right.
was the thing.
Yes,
That is a good
Kalahira.
question. That is a good question. Probably not on his mind at the moment. I'm sure he'll be thinking about it as his time goes on. I'm going off of that. He's been exposed to such outside alien beliefs for the last couple of years that it's heavily conflicted.
Okay.
So he's still trying to figure all that out on himself.
I was looking up a little bit about, I guess, Turians. They, I guess, believe in groups or areas having spirits, and I'm guessing Giuseppe would probably still hold those true. I imagine those spirits would be kind of like whoever dies kind of guides them, hopefully to a better place.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it's probably important to do whatever you can. Do what you can now. Be honorable, loyal, and do the right thing, kind of deal, and then kind of be able to have, I guess, to look kindly upon the spirits and possibly guide them to
Okay.
somewhere after you die. I don't know. This one was a tough one, especially first.
No, that's fine. It's not something that most people think about when they create their character in an RPG game. So,
Yeah. Didn't
but
think
I
of
think
this
it's relevant. I think it's relevant with this under the circumstances. So, okay, Sync.
Okay, for Sync, he has this one thing in his mind that he's always had told to him by like his father when he was younger, and despite his actions, despite like his selfishness and his actions that he's done so far in the campaign and maybe before the campaign, he'll try to forget it, or he'll try to, to brush it away, but he'll always believe it, and that is that your reward depends on what you say and what you do.
Okay.
Who gives the rewarding?
That's what his answer. He doesn't know.
We are back on the ship. I don't know if you guys want to begin the next morning or if you want to begin that same night. It's nighttime right now. I don't know what you guys prefer, because I think you guys started going your separate ways for the evening. Where do you want to start?
Did anyone?
If you guys want to do something before morning, you can, but I'm not doing
does
anything
anyone-
until morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does somebody
Same.
want?
I kind
Elias
of want
wants
to do something.
Oh,
Yes,
no.
same. I kind of want to do something at the night.
Giuseppe wants to do something. All right, go ahead, Giuseppe. We'll
Okay.
start with you then.
Since we're still, I imagine we're still in our universe, the blue universe. I think
Correct.
while Talia's asleep, she wants to contact the hospital, hear from the stepfather, and hopefully be able to get a talk with him. Be able to try to kind of like radio channel with him.
Okay.
So kind of like roleplay that.
Yeah, go ahead. So you're gonna contact the.
Yeah, I'm contacting the
hospital.
hospital. Because I imagine was hospitalized after his injuries.
Okay. The operator or whoever is at the concierge or whatever you call the person at the front desk of the hospital will pick up and say, Invictus National Hospital, how may I help you?
Yes, this is Sepia Altus. I'm calling to talking about to hear about the condition of one of your patients. He's my father-in-law. I keep forgetting his
I
name.
see.
Out of character.
Lucidus, I think is what
That's
his
it.
name
Yeah,
is.
that's what it was. That was what it was.
Lucidus. Was admitted approximately. Was it 3? Would it be like 3 hours ago? 2 or 3 hours ago? About 2 or 3 hours ago. He's in critical conditions, but my notes here say that he should be fine within the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Is he conscious?
I'm assuming he's resting right now.
If it's possible, if I'm able to speak with him, it's important.
She says the earliest visiting hours begin tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock.
It has something to do with my daughter. It's something I need to discuss with him.
Very well, ma'am. Visiting hours tomorrow at 11 o'clock.
Fine.
I mean, granted, right now it's probably like almost 2 in the morning.
Mhm.
And it's not like
I'll-
we're going anywhere right away.
Yeah, fine. I'll have to call back later then. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. And after she turns off, she's gonna start beginning the filling out the process of getting back custody of her daughter. Kind of as the fact, because that's kind of the thing that she wants to discuss with him.
Okay. Right now, Talia is
Asleep.
snuggled up,
Yeah.
asleep in your bed, and she's clutching on to her stuffed animal, her Hanar stuffed animal.
I'm an animal now? Thanks.
Oh.
Her Hanar plushie. You're a plushie.
I look over at her.
She doesn't look in her face. She has a very slightly contorted look on her face, as if she's not sleeping well. I mean, it's kind of hard to sleep well after that, but
Yeah.
at least she
Gently-
is asleep.
Yeah. Gently brush her head. Then I go over to the desk. I pick up the names that I got from the first session, and I'm gonna start making my way over to Elias.
Okay. To Elias's bedroom.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Knock on the door.
Elias, there's a knock on the door. I don't know if you've already went to bed or if you're getting ready for bed.
I don't
or...
think he can sleep, so he's probably still up. Actually.
Okay.
Who is it?
It's Sepia.
All right, come in.
Hey.
Shouldn't you be in bed?
It's just some things that I've been going through my head. Just after the last mission. Finding out some things about Octavius. There's something I need to ask a favor of you. You were a big help trying to digging up information a while back. I was wondering if you could do the same. Do a little bit, find out a little bit about Octavius. See
I
if
was lucky last time.
yeah. It just if what Simon says is true, then a lot of what's happening isn't adding up. Because the names I was given by my informant were the people that were responsible for killing him. But based off this, it sounds like he just disappeared, much like how we just kind of landed up in your universe.
Hang on, sorry, slow down. Names?
Yeah, I was, before we all met, I had spoken with an informant. I was given names of, people who were responsible for the supposed death of Octavius. Now, things are just weird now. Based off this, I can either think of two things. Either these were the people responsible for the destruction of the ship that he wasn't on, or these are just names that this informant gave me, and now I'm wondering if maybe there's some sort of connection. I was also thinking maybe you could do a background check on these people to maybe find some sort of connection.
I can dig,
See-
but you'll probably have more access through CSEC than I will through the extranet.
I can try. I'll probably do a bit
Yeah.
of investigating myself, but again, depending on how deep this goes, it may be covered up in CSEC records.
Well, if you can get
So-
me access, we can find out if they're doctored. I can figure out that much at least.
Yeah.
Of course,
Sure.
that potentially uses your login details, so
Yeah.
I'm sure there's rules against that.
Yeah. But I think this is important. If she is really sending me out to kill these people and they're actually innocent, then I have a right to know what's going on.
Can I get the list of names then?
Yeah, sure. I've got the copies right here. I hand them over. The names.
What were the names again?
Out of character.
Yeah, because I didn't write those down, and I didn't dig that far back in writing up.
The names of the Cerberus members who allegedly killed Octavius in the Blue Universe are Book Chen.
Who we've met.
You guys already knew that. You guys already knew that one. Darren James Arnett. And Aya Rowlett.
Of course.
The last name is Rowlett. Sounds familiar to you.
Oh yes, I know.
Elias.
Do I see any-
The first name doesn't.
Do I see any reaction to his face? I'm
You
going
see
through
a
the names. A blink. Oh, that's right. You
Yes, Jeff, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Um,
My worst nightmare.
by the way, you've probably noticed that Elias is working on something, and it seems to be, and Drimmy's face is on his. Before you came in, you probably saw a very quick hollow thingy of Drimmy's head, but that's about as much as you saw before it went away. So you'd have seen that.
How are you taking what happened?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever fought someone who wasn't synthetic before. Well, not like that. I'll need to get into CSEC, but I suppose I can try to scramble the channel so people don't know where it's coming from if you like.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
It's possible. Here I can hand you kind of my detail stuff. I think I could probably trust you with this stuff. I'll probably end up changing my password after this, but
I
I'm
would
sure.
recommend it.
sure thing.
He says not installing Trojan into your passwords.
Well, you do confirm that Book, Darren, and Aya, according to the records that you've been looking at, are members of Cerberus. Are you trying to determine whether or not they're still alive? Or what they're doing currently? Or
yeah, current location. Well, we know where Book is. So current location on the other two.
You know where Book is in the
in
Red
universe. Yeah, in Red we know where he is, but not in Blue.
So yeah, trying to find out where they are, and also how we know they're connected to Cerberus. So if there's any common links historically.
I don't know if I would be able to off the top of my head come up with how. I guess I'm just from putting two and two together, you determine that they are loyal to Cerberus, at least when Cerberus was still around. Cerberus is not technically around anymore, so they're ex-Cerberus. I think Book Shen is currently is incarcerated for basically participating during the coup at the Citadel. As for Darren and Aya Rowlett, they are living on Earth. I guess, trying to stay out of trouble. Like, there hasn't been any records of them really doing anything shady since Cerberus basically lost. I think they kind of ended up breaking away from that as quickly as possible, and perhaps maybe trying to cut as much ties as
Cool.
You know what's really funny? This version of Darren Arnett is technically Sync's brother-in-law.
Yep.
Yeah.
Question.
Yeah, Sync would probably know more about that.
I'm just going to
Sync
look
might know
up
more
to
about
see if we've got reports on Aya's family. Just because I'm curious.
Okay. With Aya's family, Aya has a uncle by the name of Takahiko Akiyama. For those of you who watched Bravo Squads, you know who that is.
Yeah.
Takahiko Akiyama. He is a very well-renowned, well-decorated officer of the Alliance, and I mean that's pretty much the important information you need to know about him. As for Aya's parents, they are deceased. They were killed during the Reaper conflict, basically in their home world, their home planet. Dr. Tadashi Corbin Rowlett
There we go.
is currently serving as an N7 doctor, or at least training to become an N7 doctor. He is currently in the middle of training on one of the Alliance ships, and
Classified.
apparently, yes, but apparently, as you go through, I mean, he was an extremely good student through college, like, pretty much was involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. He's done a lot of research in journals. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Tadashi has been very successful. Aya is more of a soldier. Like, her specialty is, she is, I guess, if I was to give her a class, she's more of an infiltrator than anything else. Yeah, so she's militaristic. Apparently, she and her brother kind of broke ties because he's very pro-Alliance, and she, of course, was pro-Cerberus, so that really didn't go very well between brother and sister. They have a very estranged relationship, and as far as you can tell, they probably haven't spoken to each other since.
I keep that to myself.
I don't think Tadashi has ever really, if he mentions his sister, I don't think he ever went into so very much detail with Elias, because
No.
it's a touchy subject for him.
You
Tadashi is,
specifically said that he's never mentioned his family to me at all.
yes, and there's probably a reason,
Yep.
mostly because his parents are dead, and his sister might as well be dead to him.
Yeah.
Found anything useful on there?
You know, just for Sync's information, you know Darren personally, Sync, at least the Darren in this universe.
Mm-hmm.
Darren was a pretty okay guy, but he ended up joining Cerberus fairly late in the game, much to Trissy's disapproval. Actually, I don't think Trissy ever knew. I think Darren kept that a secret. So I don't think that Sync is aware that Darren joined Cerberus or ended up, but out of character just for people's information, background-wise, the Darren here joined Cerberus fairly late, and your interaction with him was very brief. I think you only met him when you guys got married, when you and Trissy got married. Their relationship with his relationship with Trissy is a little different. The Trissy in your universe is more like Anar's Trissy. Anar's Trissy is a little bit more passive and not as feisty and more sweet, whereas Trissy's in the Bravo Squad is more sarcastic. I
like
sort
that
of modeled her over kind of an older, more mature version of, is it Meridia from Brave, the Pixar movie Brave?
Yeah.
The redhead?
Yep.
Merida?
And
Merida.
Merida, essentially. An older, more mature Merida is sort of how I modeled that Trissy's personality. So.
Should have
So the
given her
relationship
Scottish
between
accent.
yeah, I couldn't give her that. So Darren's relationship with Trissy is a little bit different there. They didn't bicker or banter as much. But Darren, I think between the two of them was definitely more sarcastic of the two. But the Trissy in your Nerdiverse was more of an anchor, sort of kept him
Right.
Grounded.
to his best behavior, grounded. Whereas the Trissy and the Bravo Squad, they just dig. She just digs and digs and digs. So the dynamic's a little different. Yeah.
Sepia, when did how long ago did Octavius disappear?
Approximately 5 years ago, roughly.
Okay.
Sepia, where did you believe Octavius died? Just out of curiosity. Do you have a location in mind?
I believe that he died on the ship, like when the ship was recovered, there was like no life whatsoever, blood everywhere. She assumed that he died on the ship along with his
Not
men.
meaning to interrupt, but didn't last game we learned that he wasn't actually on a ship, but with Simon?
That's the
know.
point.
That's the point.
Yeah,
That's
that's the point.
That's what Sepia thought. Now it's
Now we're trying to find the truth.
yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure I got that.
Roll another investigate.
Want me to roll investigate?
Yeah, I'm
No,
showing you. I'm showing
for
you
Elias.
green.
For
Well,
Elias.
I-
Or whoever's
is-
hacking.
I'm
You're the
hacking, but
queen of rolling investigations.
I'm hacking.
But Sepia is
but
investigating.
Sepia is investigating. So
Sepia, give me an investigate. 25. Sepia, you find it's interesting as you keep digging through a lot of data. Somehow you're able to hack into some files that are remnants of some of the activity that Cerberus was going through during the time 5 years ago. There's a lot of really conflicting information. First of all, it doesn't show, based on the records that you're seeing from what you believe are legitimate Cerberus-like files that somehow you're able to get a hold of with your amazing 25 investigation. These three targets were nowhere near where Octavius's supposed ship was found. So it's possible that doesn't mean anything, but it's unlikely that they would have had anything to do with whatever happened to that ship. The other thing you notice is that you do find records that do say that Octavius was discharged from the Force due to substance abuse, which does kind of coincide with what Simon was saying. But the interesting thing is you also find records of him also not being discharged, which makes you wonder if some of this information was fabricated. And as you hack even more, you find that there are files that were edited by one Shias Lazim.
So
Your contact.
who is your contact again?
Who you personally know is
Her name is Silas Lazee.
and you know that she works for the Shadow Broker, who specializes in information.
Mm-hmm.
With information comes power. So if one has access to information and could possibly change said information, that's pretty much right up the Shadow Broker's alley.
I wonder if Liara is still a shadow broker in this universe.
Yeah, we've been wondering
That'd
that.
be
I think since
interesting to run. That'd be interesting to run into.
So
Something different.
this is going to be a bad question, but what were you planning on doing with these names?
I got nothing to do.
I could tell you, but
That would get
I
you
think
fired.
yeah. I think we both know. I think we both know what I had in mind.
So sounds like someone's setting you up to do some house cleaning for them.
Yes, it looks like it.
Okay, new
Looks
hack.
like-
New hack. Let's find out about this Shias person.
Holy crap.
I am all
Nice.
board with that.
Okay.
I'm gonna know
Where
everything
is-
about hacking by the end of this.
Go ahead. 29.
Nice.
Miss Shais Lazim. Okay, so you are able to find out that she is an agent for the Shadow Broker. She is one who loves information, and she also is the kind of person who she likes being comfortable. She likes nice things, and she will do anything and everything to remain in her social status. Throughout her history, she has also had a lot of great accolades, and she fought tooth and nail to get up there. Although allegedly, sometimes in order to do so, she has a tendency to crush people underneath her on the way in order to rise up in the ranks, until she finally managed to land the position that she now enjoys, being a member of the Shadow Brokers, like, extensions, basically. So it is not unusual for someone like her to manipulate things in her favor if the price is right.
Well, unless you can get me access into the Shadow Broker's files, I don't think we should pursue this too much further from the ship.
Sure. I imagine there might be some countermeasures with.
Almost
kind of
guaranteed.
contact she has.
But looks like someone wanted those 3 people dead, and they wanted you to do it.
I imagine it would have been her. Given, based on this record, there must have been some sort of connection with some sort of reason why she'd want these people dead.
Sesepia also gave Shais Lazim a pretty penny too to get those names, by the way. You gave her a lot of money to get those names.
Looks I'm gonna have to pay her a visit soon.
Yes, because of the money.
The money.
Not because of everything else, the money now.
Oh,
You're gonna use that money for a new hairdo.
I don't like being made a fool of.
Oh, I know. I'm playing.
Yeah. Oh, character.
I was gonna say, hairdo on a Solarian, that'll be interesting.
I was actually referring to Sesepia.
Nah.
Hairdo on a Turian, that'll be interesting too.
Is there anything else? Because I want to try to move on to other people. Like, is there anything else?
That'll be it. I think that's all that we'll be able to find tonight. Thank you, Alias.
You're welcome.
Alright. You take care then, okay?
Yeah. Try to get some sleep. One of us should.
The next morning, I don't know who realistically would wake up first.
Not me.
I never slept.
Not Elias and not Sesep. You never slept.
I've probably fallen asleep at my desk.
Anar, you will. You never fell asleep.
Nope, he's been doing stuff.
You'll hear a knock on your armor, on your mech suit. Knock, knock, knock.
Okay, well then, they're not gonna get an answer. Instead, they're gonna hear some yelling from the bathroom.
From the bathroom?
Yep, from the bathroom.
What is the yelling from the bathroom?
Damn it, just die already!
Is this from the suit's bathroom or from some other bathroom?
Bathroom in the cargo hold.
Okay,
I don't think there
okay.
is one in the cargo hold. I
There's
thought
a
the
bathroom in the cargo hold. Don't ruin it for me.
So there's a makeshift bathroom in the cargo hold now.
Yes, let's go with that. So if you want to go knock on that door, be my guest.
There will be another knock on the door a few seconds later in the cargo hold or the bathroom, whatever.
Ah! You can open the door, by the way.
I mean, I don't think. Well, instead of opening the door, the voice will say, apologetically, "Is this a bad time, Mr. Anar?"
Yes! I'm trying to conquer an enemy! And for some accidental reason, something will hit the door panel and it will open. Otto will see Anar standing there holding a weapon in his hand and looking down at its enemy. He's like, this one must conquer the enemy. Gah! And as soon as he brings the weapon down, his face gets wet. This one wasn't kidding when it said the freaking toilet wasn't working! And now he's bouncing up and down on the plunger like it's a pogo stick. What's up?
Matter of factly, this one needs energy to conquer the enemy. I was asking what you'd like for breakfast.
Oh, standing awkwardly on the plunger. Got pancakes?
Proudly, I can make pancakes for you. Do you have a preference of toppings?
And he's looking down at the toilet and he pulls out a grenade and says, you might want to step back for this. Oh, by the way, Blueberry pulls a pin and drops it in the toilet. Get the deck! And he hops out of the bathroom and closes the door fast.
You hop out and the Krogan also moves very briskly in the other direction as you hear this big explosion coming from inside the bathroom. The door of the bathroom.
This is gonna wake up everyone.
You can see dents like forming on the door of the bathroom. And when everything grows silent again, this probably wakes up a lot of people up above. And when it becomes silent again, the Krogan turns to you and says, shockingly, if you wanted blueberries that badly, there was no need for theatrics.
He gets up and dusts off all 6 of his tentacles. Well, that problem needed to sort itself out anyways. He puts an tentacle around his shoulders like, so, what kind of blueberries we got? You follow him upstairs. I haven't done stupid shit in 2 sessions. I gotta get it out.
The Krogan goes quiet again, and then he says, observantly, you seem to be in high spirits this morning.
Otto, this one's gonna level with you. Being depressed all the time isn't fun. Trust, this one just mourns in other fashions. And as he's saying that, he actually hears a beeping noise from the mech, and he looks over at it. Otto, on second thought, you go up without this one for the moment. It'll be up in a minute.
Very well. If you need me for anything, I'm a good listener.
This one appreciates it, buddy.
The Krogan makes his way upstairs, up the elevator.
Anar makes his way back to the mech, hops inside, spins around in his chair a little bit, and pulls out the soda he already had going. And on the screen it says download complete. He goes, oh, good, that's done. And he hits a button on the dashboard and out pops a chit. He's like, okay, that's 2 down. Nope, I guess that's it. This one better get ready then. And he starts to dive into his trash pile. You know, you hear sloshing and things flying up everywhere. And then the back pops out, and some of the crap falls on the ground. He hops out, and he's wearing actually a very nice little tiny tailored vest and a tie, and he's wearing a bowler hat to cover the bruise that Miss Arcara left on his head. And he looks down at the mess, says, "Yeah, this one will clean up later." And closes the back. And he's holding a little box along with the 2 chits he's got ready. It's like, okay, let's do this. And then he'll make a way upstairs. End of scene.
Okay. Meanwhile, upstairs, everyone is probably shaken awake by an explosion down in the cargo hold. Of all people, Sink is probably the one who might be most concerned about this, but given the situation, I don't know if he is paying attention.
Yeah, I think he would have kind of woken up if he wasn't up already and go down and check it out. I guess as Anar's coming up.
Alright, you'll see Anar coming up. What is Sink's disposition currently? Does it look like, first of all, that he got any sleep?
Yeah, he looks a little rough. Like he didn't sleep too much, but enough to where he knows what's going on.
Okay. What is his general facial expression?
Just kind of like the lean, like emotionless kind of expression.
Okay.
Oh. How does it feel when you see a Hanar wearing a suit and tie and a bowler hat?
What he's, I guess he'll say, you headed back to Alice's concert, or?
He actually approaches Sink without saying anything, and then he pulls out one of his chits, and he takes Sink's hand gingerly and places it in there, and then clasps his fingers around it. This is for you, this one's friend.
Thanks. What was all that noise down there?
Plumbing. It's a little problem. This one wasn't kidding when it said the toilet wasn't working.
Well, it sounded like an explosion, so I think I'm gonna go.
Oh no. In fact, you're highly you're being quite rude, saying that this one's bathroom needs sound like explosions. I mean, you ever thought about how you come off it sometimes? I mean, jeez. Oh, by the way, that explosion was a grenade. He pats his shoulder and walks away.
A what? And then I'm gonna run downstairs.
You run downstairs and you find that the cargo hold for the most part is fine, with the exception of you can clearly see that the bathroom door is dented. As you're cutting through, by the way, you can't help but notice that all of Drimmy's things are still there, exactly where he left them. Perfectly organized, by the way,
I was gonna ask,
on one side.
We say that some of it probably fell over from the blast, or?
Some of them probably did.
Okay, Sink's gonna kind of just go and pick up the things that are on the ground, I guess papers and different stuff like that. And he picks up this piece of paper or blueprint, and he notices something, and he's kind of looking at it, and it's out of character. I picked up Incinerate and after last session, and I kind of want to roleplay a way to get it. So back in character, he picks up this blueprint and he's looking at it, and he sees that Drimmy has come up with a way for him to harness his heat that builds up and turn it into like a blast, as sort of like an energy weapon. And so he's kind of just looking at it and just kind of thinking about Drimmy, and he's just gonna look down and say thanks, bud. I appreciate it. And he's just gonna kind of continue to pick up his stuff.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Always for self-improvement.
Arkara, how about you? You probably are woken
Sorry
up
about
by
your
the
bathroom,
explosion.
by the way.
Arkara, what are you doing?
After I basically hear the blast, I come rushing out, just looking around, seeing what the fuck is going on.
Okay.
Trying to figure out if anyone knows what's up.
When you come out, the door to Meridi's room opens, and she says, "What in the name of the goddess was that?"
I am wondering the same thing. That didn't sound good. Who's going berserk this time?
I'm checking the ship's systems just to see if we're reporting any damage.
The ship is showing some minor damage in the cargo hold. It doesn't seem like it's anything that you need to necessarily address immediately, but if you don't fix it probably in the next couple of weeks, it'll threaten the integrity of that portion of the ship.
Oops.
Something in the cargo hold.
Well, that settles that then.
You'll see Otto come into the den and say, "The water in the kitchen no longer runs."
Damage in the cargo hold. Assuming
yeah.
Anar.
Oh, you were probably under attack or something.
Sisepia, meanwhile, when the explosion happens, Talia is shaken awake by it, and she gasps. I don't know if you will wake up from the blast as well. Most likely.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
Imagine.
the young Turian sits up from bed. She cuddles the covers close to her, and she looks around as if she doesn't know where she is. She looks confused.
Hey, everything's okay.
When she sees you, she immediately smiles and says, "Mama," and then she goes up to you and wraps her arms around you.
Did you
I
get
had a
us?
very She said, "No, I had a very bad dream. I was in this strange ship. And this really weird man, he said he was trying to save me."
It's over, baby. Don't have to worry about him hurting you.
"Where are we?" she asks.
We're on a ship right now. This is where I've been for past week, doing some missions.
"Wow,
Mm-hmm.
you're going on adventures?
That's right.
She looks around and she says, "Where's Grandma and Grandpa?"
I'm gonna get down, kind of get at eye level. I'm not gonna lie to you. Your dream that you had, it was real.
She her smile fades, and then she clutches onto her plushie very close as it gives a slight squeak, and she looks down onto the covers. "So that means Grandma..."
Yeah, she's the man in your dream that you thought was a dream. Killed her.
You hear a sniffle, and tears start to roll down her cheek. She doesn't start bawling, but you can see that she's very upset as it's starting to hit her gradually.
It's okay,
What?
baby.
But why? Why would he do that? What did she do?
She didn't do anything wrong.
He said that.
It's the way how life is sometimes, honey.
That doesn't make sense.
It's hard to explain, but it's just how things are.
She continues to. The tears are now streaming down her face,
Kind of
and
gonna clutch her tight. It's okay, let it out.
she clutches you tight, and she
It's
starts.
okay.
That's when she starts to bawl.
It's okay. It's okay to let it out. Be sad if you need to. It's okay to grieve.
Her voice cracks a little bit when she says, "I made her mad last night."
I'm sure she still loves you. How could anyone hit you?
Is she with Daddy?
Yeah. Oh. That I'm not sure. It's a lot that I'm gonna have to tell you. But hopefully, if you want, we can visit your Lucius. Would you like that? He's at the hospital.
She slowly nods without saying a word.
Okay. Yeah. before we go, maybe we can run into Otto. Maybe you can make you something for breakfast.
She doesn't say anything, but she slowly nods again.
Okay. I'll pick her up and make my way to the kitchen.
At this point, Arkara and Meridi are still in the. I guess they're still in the common area with Otto. And wait, so you're bringing Talia with you?
Yeah.
You see the little girl Talia emerge after you guys are conversing about the water, and the girl's eyes look a little red. She's still very teary-eyed, and it looks like the poor thing has been through a lot, as you can imagine. She looks a little scared. There's a room full of strangers, people she doesn't really recognize. So, I don't know if Elias is there right now.
Yes, I'm there.
Okay. She recognizes you. You can tell, but again, it's still a room full of a lot of people that she doesn't know.
You don't have to be afraid, honey. You see that lady over there? She saved your life.
Are you pointing at Arkara?
Arkara, yep.
Okay.
I go down on one knee and just smile at her. Hey, how are you doing?
She says, "Not so good."
I told her about what happened to her grandmother.
That would make anyone sad. You're being brave, though.
It's hard, she says.
That's what makes you brave. It's always hard. But you're facing it, and that makes you really brave.
She says, "Thank you. I cried too when Daddy died."
Yeah.
Mommy told me it's okay to cry.
Otto, do you have breakfast started?
Truthfully, I attempted to, but realized we didn't have water. I won't need it for making pancakes, but it will make other things complicated.
Would you like some pancakes, Talia?
Talia silently nods. The Krogan looks at the girl, and he very he forces a smile because Elcor don't really smile. They don't really have facial expressions. So you're seeing that he's making a very concerted effort to, smile.
Muscles he hasn't used his whole life.
And when the little girl sees him making this funny face, she kind of chokes with a little tiny giggle. She's still crying, but it looks like she's like giggling at the same time to herself. And when Otto realizes that she's kind of laughing at him, he blushes, and then he turns around and heads for the kitchen.
Hey.
I'll tap Meridi on the shoulder, give her a nod, and follow Otto and ask if he needs any help.
Okay, and Meridi gives you a wait, what? Oh, kind of a look.
I look over my shoulder at Meridi and just shake my head. No.
Otto's by the time you get to the kitchen, Otto is already pouring some milk into what appears to be a batter of some sort, and he's starting to he is making his way to get the rest of the ingredients.
Hey, do you need any help in here?
He almost drops the spoon that he was mixing with, as if you startled him, and then he turns around and says, Surprisingly, I did not realize you were there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you.
He says, he clears his throat a little bit and blushing a little bit, and he says, informatively, if you can get the blueberries from the fridge, that would be most helpful.
I'll do that.
You go over, and there's a little bit of awkward silence. It looks like Otto is, trying to measure some of the ingredients very carefully, and almost like he's trying to not. He's making a extra effort to not mess up what he's doing.
I'll put down the blueberries on the counter beside him and just like, I'm not good at this, but I just wanted to say thank you. It's a little bit late, but thank you for what you did for me on the Trunka.
Otto is mixing, and then he stops slowly. His mixing goes to a slow pace, and he looks towards your direction, and he says, "Happily, you are most welcome. I was just trying to do what I felt needed to be done to help everybody."
Well, you have a better moral compass than most Krogan males. I'll give you that. That's a good thing.
He blushes again, and he says gratefully, "That's one of the nicest things anyone has said to me."
That surprised me. You're so nice.
Admittedly, I've had a hard time blending with people in general. Back at Dakuna, if you can imagine, it was very hard to fit in.
Well, you're a bit of everything, aren't you? It's not easy fitting in when you're parts of something that isn't part of what they consider normal, I guess.
My cousin, he says cheerfully, reminiscing, my cousin liked to use that for his material. Proudly, I did not ever tell you, my cousin was a comedian in Dakuna. He liked to use me as his material. It was okay though, because we were close. I think he says that's the reason why he didn't feel bad making fun of me. It was all in jest.
Well, as long as you're happy with it, I guess. That's the important part.
Hesitatingly, maybe you'd want to see one of my cousin's shows if we're ever in the area in Dakuna. Everyone is invited too, of course, if they want to come. He says. If everybody else wants to come too,
Akara
apologetically, I'm sorry. I am babbling. He starts scooping up some of the blueberries to put it into the batter.
Were those
Akara
dextro
chuckles
blueberries? Blueberries.
Well, Anar is not dextro based, I don't think.
No,
so
no,
I'm
he's
sure
not
he'll be
flavor-based.
able to make. I'm sure he's going to make a batch of dextro pancakes as well.
No, it's more
Probably
a
not
case
with
of-
blueberries.
As long as he's not mixing the two.
He's very good about not doing that. But you got a sample of Dextasy, don't you?
Oh,
You got a
No,
sample
it's-
of Dextasy.
Yes, I did. I did steal a sample. That's true, I did.
Sample and formula.
Not that he's aware of that, so he's probably gonna make pancakes for you just by default, like dextro pancakes for you by default.
And for the Turian group,
Yes.
we're gonna need those too.
Politely, may I ask you a question, Arkara?
Of course.
after what happened in Tuchanka, do you feel it's hard to belong as well, now that you know the truth?
I guess you could say that. Well, not necessarily belong, but I'm not sure who I am and where I'm heading anymore. But I guess I'll figure it out somehow.
Understandingly, that is difficult, I can imagine.
At least I have my mission to focus on. That's gonna help.
He then begins heating up the griddle, and he's about to put the pancakes in very perfectly sized discs. And he seems to be relaxing a little bit more. He doesn't seem as nervous as he was at the beginning. And then he says, informatively, your friend Mridi is quite the character, he says.
You could say that.
She has been asking me a lot of very strange questions.
Of course she have. What's she's been saying now then?
Unsuredly, she has been asking me questions about what my favorite food is, which is natural, but also my taste in music, my taste in movies. And then he sort of tilts his head a little bit and says, my favorite stuffed animals, as confusingly.
It does sound like Meridi. Ah, gee. Never mind her, she's just inquisitive. And I do believe she's trying to set me up. That wouldn't be the first time.
He blushes again and he says apologetically, I did not mean to imply anything.
No, that's fine. That's just Meridi being Meridi. She just is like that. I think that's the way she shows she cares.
Otto says, agreeably, she does seem like a very good friend, a true friend. I am very happy that I met the people here. It was very difficult to make friends on the Citadel. Everyone there looked at me funny, too.
I can imagine. Oh well. You're sweet, and that's all that matters.
He blushes, but he actually makes a more natural smile at this point. Like, not forcibly, but it almost happens without him thinking about it. You know, you kind of catch a little bit of a smile, and at this point, the room starts to be filled with a very sweet aroma of pancakes heating up, and he turns to our Kara and says, "Here, would you like to try?" As he holds the spatula towards you.
Sure. Your cooking's always delicious. I take it and shove it in my mouth.
You
Burn your tongue.
you shove it in your mouth, and it's very moist. It's very hot, and Otto says shockingly, I meant, would you like to try to cook them?
All right.
He says, that one was not quite done yet. It was a little moister than normally. Humorously. Ha 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 ha. And interestingly enough, before, when he's done a laugh, it was more of a ha 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 ha. This time it's more of a ha 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 ha. Closer towards a genuine laugh.
Yay.
Apologetically, I didn't mean to laugh at you. I just found it cute, he says.
Our Carl will go up and put a hand on his shoulder. It's fine.
He again gives you a smile, and he then offers the spatula again and will help you flip the pancake over. Roll me a dexterity check.
Oh, bull. Here we go. How much am I gonna fuck this up? Let's see. That's a 9.
Okay, that's an average. You flip it over. It's not bad. You flip it over, and it doesn't quite land perfectly well. There's a little bit of a small smear, of the batter when you turn over, and Otto says supportingly, "That's still quite good." He says, "I'm sure that if we keep trying, you will get it perfectly."
I don't have your affinity for it, but I'll give it a try.
My mom always says, food is what brings everyone together. Although dextro might make things a little bit more difficult, but I think I know what she meant.
Aww.
Meanwhile, because that was such a cute scene. Meanwhile,
Yay!
Where is Sink at this moment? Is he still down in the cargo bay?
Yes, I am. At the moment.
The elevator opens up, and out pops Cyrus Lennox. "Captain," he says as he approaches you.
Yeah, yes, Cyrus.
His voice changes a little bit lighter when he approaches you, and he says, "How are you feeling, sir?"
Well, I am very shocked that Jimmy's gone. I feel a little bit better after getting somewhat of sleep. Surprisingly, I'm taking this somewhat easier than the last time I lost someone I'd cared a lot about. I guess I'm just getting used to learn how to grieve. I should be fine though.
I don't think any of us is a stranger to that at all whatsoever, myself included. Still, that wasn't to necessarily belittle what's happening right now. I just thought it would be the thing to ask.
I appreciate your concern, Cyrus. Thank you. By the way, who's that little girl that you and Nora were talking about the other day?
Her name was Danielle, but she liked to be called Danny for short. She was a sweet girl. At the time I was working for Eclipse.
I'll kind of cut him off, I guess, when after he sighs and
Yeah.
say, "And you're trying to bring her back."
He looked surprised, and said, "I was thinking about bringing her back. It was my fault that she died. She didn't deserve that. I was following orders."
Well, I've got someone that I want to bring back too.
Don't we all?
Maybe me and you could work together when we have the time. I know of someone who's got a machine, but you'll need DNA of this girl, but he's figured out a way to turn genetic into binary, and from there I was trying to go the opposite way to try to recreate the person.
Is this something that you truly think is a good idea?
To be honest, it's all I have to go for.
Oh, is it now? Is all he says, rhetorically. Are you trying to convince me of this, or are you trying to convince yourself of that?
Good question. And I'll leave it. And then I guess at that I'll look at the door, the bathroom, and I'll look back at Cyrus. So, are you good with any tools?
Unfortunately not. Maintenance is not really my thing.
Likewise.
You saw how things went when I was trying to unlock that door in the med bay. he says with a grin.
I, I sure did. Well, I guess I better go find Honor and have him clean up this mess. And at this moment,
Captain, go ahead.
yeah, yes, Cyrus.
The reason I came downstairs is because I wanted to ask you what you wanted to do with Drimmy. Funeral services. When and where?
Thank you for asking. I was actually thinking about holding a conference to kind of ask everyone. I know that he's always loved stars, and I figured the best thing to do would give him a funeral of kings and maybe put him into one of the escape pods and just send him on his way into a star. I know he always liked the one above. Out of character, I don't remember the stars. I don't know if they ever mentioned it. The sun above Thesia.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay. A burial into space. Sounds fitting.
thanks. Yeah, I was gonna see.
I can make arrangements. I can make arrangements for the body. He says.
Thank you, Cyrus. I appreciate it.
It's the Parnitha system, but I don't know what the star is. Oh, it's the star is Parnitha.
Okay. Thank you. Cyrus will take his hand and he will give you a pat on the shoulder before he goes back into the elevator and goes up.
Okay. At this moment, I'm gonna kind of pick up some of Jimmy's tools. And just out of character, he's taking the grief more. He's really handling it a lot better after, the initial shock of Jimmy dying. I guess just because of he's been grieving so long with Tristan, it's just kind of second nature to have people going. And as he's picking up the tools, an idea kind of sparks in his head. Like if someone was around, you kind of see that he's like had like an epiphany or something. And at this point, he's going to go to Elias.